Hi, good afternoon and welcome everybody. I'm Julie Mordew. I'm thrilled to be joined today by two experts in the field of recruitment process outsourcing. So firstly, let me introduce Leanne Chambers. Give us a wave, Leanne. Leanne's the Managing Director of Green Bean, and she has over 2 decades of experience in the recruitment industry. She's been instrumental in shaping Green Bean's innovative approach to RPO. A strategic vision and deep understanding of the talent acquisition have helped numerous organisations transform their recruitment processes. Alongside Leanne, we have Dean. Give us a wave, Dean. So Dean Durrant is Green Bean's Associate Director of Client Solutions. So Dean brings a wealth of knowledge in designing and implementing bespoke RPO solutions for clients. His expertise lies in analysing clients' needs and crafting tailored strategies that deliver real results in the complex world of talent acquisition, and may I also say, and the rapidly evolving world. So together, Leanne and Dean are going to share their insights today on how RPO can address key recruitment challenges, explore the various types of RPO, but also discuss how businesses can benefit from Green Bean's bespoke approach. So we're in for an informative session. So let's get started by diving into the world of RPO. I'm going to quickly outline what we're going to cover. So the purpose today is to demystify recruitment process outsourcing of what you may think it is, show you how you can revolutionise your talent acquisition strategy, and see how you could solve some of your common issues. We'll start with a clear explanation of what RPO is and its key benefits, and you all want to know what it can do for you. And then we'll delve into the different types of RPO solutions available: end-to-end, project-based, managed service provision. Leanne and Dean will both share insights on Green Bean's bespoke RPO solutions and how they're tailored to meet specific business needs. And we'll also talk about the types of businesses that would benefit and that are more suitable for RPO. We'll also address some frequently answered questions, and also we have a chat box live. So please feel free to pop any questions in, say hello to us, anything you want Leanne and Dean to answer today, and we'll try and get around to your questions. We've got only half an hour today, so we need to get cracking, and can't wait to delve into it. So welcome, Leanne and Dean.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So Leanne, first of all, if I can come to you first, can you explain to us what is recruitment process outsourcing, or RPO as it's commonly termed as?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, don't we, by talking in different acronyms, but actually RPO, recruitment process outsourcing, is basically what it says it is on the tin. So it could be, I guess it's where a business will maybe transfer part or all of its recruitment process to a third party. It's where a recruitment business would really kind of, I guess, integrate with the business and become part of their team. And it could be, whole of the recruitment process, or just parts of the recruitment process. So things like your attraction strategy, but also things like how you screen candidates, whether it's interviewing, whether it's assessment centres, right the way through to vetting and onboarding. But it doesn't have to be everything. And we'll come on to talk in a little bit more detail about whether it's full or part process as we go through the webinar this morning.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. So what are the different types of RPO models, Leanne?
I guess, again, to try and put it in a sort of simple terms, because there's so many, I think people think it's more complicated than it actually is. But I guess full end-to-end RPO, if I can just talk a little bit about that first, is basically where organisations like Green Bean plug into a business and do their full end-to-end recruitment process. So as we talked about earlier, right the way from attraction strategy all the way through to vetting and onboarding, the recruitment business would do that effectively. So I guess it's around applying centralized processes. It's making sure that I guess the RPO business is an extension of your workforce. Really, if an RPO is doing its job, internal hiring managers and candidates or anybody externally shouldn't know that it's not the actual business. It should be white labeled and really running as a true integration of your recruitment team. So you'd have things like integrated applicant tracking systems, you'd have full visibility MI, and basically it would be that one point of contact. I guess the other side of it is quite often when you work with businesses, They might already have great relationships with a PSL, a preferred supplier list, or agencies that they've used for a long time. What an RPO can do is be that one point of contact and really manage that supply chain underneath that as well. So it truly does take away, I guess, that recruitment responsibility from your HR team as well. I think that obviously there's the full end-to-end RPO, but there's also, I guess the other one is your managed service provision, or again, back to the acronyms, your MSP. So this would probably use more commonly, I guess, if you've got temp workforce or you've got a contractor workforce, and it would really be around managing that. What it gives you is that full control, that full visibility of your flexible workforce through one solution. So you would have things like full cost visibility through one consolidated invoice rather than it being through several agencies. You would be able to manage your brand effectively because it's being managed by that MSP provider. But I guess on top of that, it's also they would manage the temporary workers and those contractors. So things like hiring manager queries would be taken away. The MSP would do that. It would be things like managing performance, payroll, sickness, holiday management, all of those things as well. So I guess the difference between the full RPO solution, that could encompass some of the temp and contractor workforce, but an MSP is effectively managing the temp workforce in a sort of standalone solution.
Okay.
Finally, so as not to overcomplicate things too much, I think the most common one that we see is probably project RPO, which is your plug and play. So that's more around your on-demand recruitment projects that usually sit outside of your business as usual recruitment. So it might be that you need that flexibility, that agility to really underpin your in-house recruitment team or your HR team. During changes in business demand, it might be that you've got unexpected demand that you didn't think you were going to have. I think we've all been there where you've got a 12-month plan around what your recruitment demand strategy is going to look like, and it never does. So what this gives you is the opportunity to really flex around that. I guess without having to add in that permanent headcount as well into your own talent acquisition team. So when this would be useful, I think, is for, I guess, new startups or smaller organisations that don't necessarily have that in-house HR or recruitment team of their own and just need to really bolster that externally. It might be, as we said, there's a surge in HR and there needs to be that strategic focus elsewhere. Or it could be around any sort of businesses going through transformation or growth that really need that additional resource to underpin what they've already got. So I think that's probably, the one we see the most, though obviously we do operate the other two types of RPO contracts as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So what would you say are the key benefits that organisations are likely to see when they implement an RPO solution into their business?
There's a number of key things I think that businesses need to think about when they're looking whether to sort of go out to a recruitment partner. I guess the main thing we've sort of already touched upon is around the flexibility that it offers, because as I said, you can start with a clear plan, but we all know it never transpires that way. It always looks different. And it really is about giving that supplementary support for any sort of fluctuating demand that you might have, but also offers a scalable solution. We sit with a team of 30 within our business that we have some dedicated account teams. We have some that move around and work with different client accounts. But what we do is give that flexibility to our client partners to be able to say, look, if you need additional 60 heads, we can do that. If it's a project for 10, we can do that. And it's really to support businesses so they don't have that sort of, I guess, in-house commitment around permanent headcount attached to that recruitment demand. I think, again, we've talked about the fact that there's the sort of HR strategic focus. HR need to be focusing on things like talent development. They need to be focusing on things like retention, employee engagement. By outsourcing the recruitment to an experienced supplier, it gives you the opportunity to do that. Cost and time savings, I guess, through streamlined processes, integrated technology. You've got that real full visibility around managing supply chain as well. You've got consistency in process, and it really just sort of gives you all of that sort of visibility around things like data-driven MI to help you make those informed recruitment decisions. You know, whenever we're working with a client, we provide any sort of MI that they want, but usually it's around looking at candidate funnels, it's looking at how well your attraction strategies work, and then really using that data-driven MI to support those decisions. I think, you know, we've talked about that flexibility, but also the agility, the scalability of a recruitment process outsourcing solution. It offers all of those things. But I think one of the key things, especially in the competitive marketplace that we operate in, is around that sort of brand enhancement piece, and making sure that how we represent clients to market is consistent through the talent value proposition, through their employer brand proposition, really reflecting the able to sort of embed in a business and reflect that culture externally when we're talking to candidates as well. So I really could talk a long time about what the benefits are, but I think given that I've got 30 minutes, I think you picked the wrong two people with Dean and I, but by the way, I can keep it to 30 minutes. But I think those really are the sort of key benefits, I would say, in terms of
Perfect, thank you. So Dean, can I come to you now? So in your experience, and why is RPO becoming increasingly popular, particularly among startups and SME businesses?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I think in recent years, a lot of businesses have been actively looking for an alternative to the traditional agency model. So the RPO sector has grown, particularly in the SME and startup space. Accessibility and choice has been a major factor. I think RPO, the concept's been around for decades, for a long time, previously only viewed as an option for enterprise-sized businesses. And this is certainly something I hear every day in my conversations. So companies with very large budgets would historically have been the ones that go for this. And I think that's where the major shift has happened. Greenbean was created to support SMEs and startups, and as it was clear, there was a desire from the market for recruitment services that offered more than they were getting from the traditional routes, I suppose, particularly in terms of added value, consolidation of costs, and actual real accountability from their recruitment partners. A lot of firms historically, a lot of them still do, will use multiple agencies on a PSL because just that's the way it's always been done. That's the norm. There's a lot of downsides to that model, lack of accountability from the agencies on there, a lack of support. If roles don't get filled, then you just don't get billed. It's as simple as that. That's kind of where it tends to end. Arm's length relationships and a kind of an inability to evolve that PSL as the business grows and evolves. I'd say a properly implemented RPO can fix all of these things and more, and can add real value to the brand using data to continuously improve and evolve, looking at the candidate journey, hiring practices and employer brand, all through a proper partnership rather than this arm's length, almost transactional relationship. And we can usually provide some meaningful cost savings in the process.
Yeah, okay, great. And you know, if Leanne, if I can come back to you here, how does Greenbean's approach to RPO differ from traditional large-scale RPO providers?
Yeah, I mean, Dean just mentioned there that obviously Greenbean was created in, I guess, demand to what our clients were telling us they were looking for. But actually, as a business, you know, we've operated in the RPO space probably for over 30 years, actually. And RPO isn't new to us. I guess we just officially badged it as RPO in terms of what we were doing about 6 years ago, because prior to that, we'd run huge kind of government contracts, public sector contracts, huge national RPOs, but also working with SMEs and startup businesses as well, as Dean referred to earlier. But I guess in terms of our approach being different, I think it is that. I think it's around that sort of, I guess, large scale expertise, but also that personalized touch as well, that personalized service. You know, I guess we're small enough to be able to deliver that personal service, but also have the agility and scalability to deliver, you know, huge multidiscipline contracts. But on the same token, we've also got teams that could work if you wanted to build a new team of 5. So it really is that varied in terms of the types of work that we do. But I think it really is about that personal touch, I guess, that boutique for want of a better word, RPO provider, making you get the benefits of both the large scale, but also that personal touch as well. I think our partnerships are really tailored. You know, we've talked about RPO, MSP, plug and play, but actually that's just to sort of give an indicator as to the type of solution that we offer. Actually, probably it's difficult to slot all of our clients into one of those because they might take elements of each. So it's really about building a personalized, bespoke service, depending on what the client needs are, really. I think that one of the major benefits of what we do is we're obviously based in the Northeast, as you can probably tell from the accent, or maybe not Dean's. He's up in Scotland, but we do have that national reach. But how we operate is through that centralized hub service. So the reason we've done that rather than the branch networks, as quite a lot of providers operate under, is because we want that consistency in service, and we really think we can do that better through that centralised service. So it doesn't matter if you're a client in Birmingham, in Glasgow, in Edinburgh, wherever you are, you're going to get that same level of service and that personalised approach that you wouldn't necessarily get with your global RPO providers. But we also offer an on-site client partner model. So as well as having the centralized hub, you've still got that integrated solution whereby you've got somebody on site that integrates with your HR team, your hiring managers, really understands the sort of fabric of the organization that they're recruiting for as well. So it's the best of both worlds in terms of how we operate, actually. You know, we've got a client that we're implementing at the moment. The team are up in Glasgow, Scotland, and we'll be, you know, sort of operating that service where we'll be spending time on site with those hiring managers to make sure the stakeholders are engaged in terms of what we're doing. And I guess that brings me nicely to the next point, is really around that expert implementation piece, because I think one of the key things around any RPO partnership is how you, I guess, scale that up and really sort of work with the organisation. You have to be standing side by side. It has to be a partnership. And we're experts in doing that. As I say, not me personally, I've been doing it 20 years, but as a business, we've been doing it for 30 years. And we know how to do that. We know how to step up a new site. We know how to bring stakeholders on board and really communicate what that plan is going to look like. And I think the agility as well, you know, we talked about you never know what's going to be around the corner. Because we're, I guess, a smaller RPO provider than some of your sort of global huge RPO providers, we're able to make decisions quickly, react quickly, change things quickly. We know that, you know, we could start an RPO thinking it's going to be one thing and it becomes something entirely different. I think probably all of them actually would come under that umbrella. So it's been able to do that, to be able to say, okay, we started off with this, but we've got the agility to change it into this. And, you know, these decisions sit with us in this sort of delivery hub and this centralized team function to be able to react to things quickly, which I think is a huge benefit. Mm. But I think in all of that, I think it's about being able to operate at a smaller level, but also at that sort of scaled up version. But for want of a better phrase, I guess it's scalability with care. And it's about making sure that each experience to each client is personal, making sure that human element, yes, we're underpinned by technology, but that human element really remains central to the service that we're offering.
And that's even more important now, where candidates are wanting full authenticity and transparency, and you know they want to see behind the shiny tin and make sure that it is what you say it's going to be. So that's really important, the human touch point and the human element. So Dean, I'm going to come back to you now. So what would you say Green Bean contribute to a company's long-term talent strategy? How can an RPO evolve and fit into the long-term talent acquisition or talent strategy?
Okay, I think the nature of what we do and the fact that it is a partnership and we're fully embedded within the business is probably a good jumping off point for that. Our success as an RPO business is intrinsically linked to the success of our partnerships. And we care about building long-lasting collaborations that will impact our clients' business. If our clients have the best employer brand, the most positive candidate experience and really good hiring practices, we're doing our part, we're doing our job and helping them to succeed in that respect. Partnership model is not just about filling jobs. It is a true partnership. Sees us working with HR, marketing, operations, as well as the leadership teams of our clients to ensure that we're providing meaningful support that allows our client to build and execute robust talent strategies longer into the future than they'll get from from single transactional recruitment relationships. So partnering with us, you're not just outsourcing your recruitment tasks, you're collaborating with a team that's committed to understanding and supporting the long-term strategy, ensuring that your business thrives well into the future.
Okay, cool. And Leanne, I'll come back to you. Are you able to provide some examples of where RPO has been particularly effective? You mentioned the different types of RPO, so can you give me some examples of those?
Yeah. I think in all of our RPO partnerships, really, it's been about, I suppose, plugging into an organisation at various stages of their journey and providing that sort of outsourced support from a recruitment perspective. Over the years, there's been so many great examples of where we've done this. We worked with Adam Bank, for example, when they were, well, before they were even starting up, there was a vision of what they wanted the bank to be as the first challenger bank. I remember sitting in a room with the execs team talking about what their vision was for the bank and culturally what they wanted to achieve. And I guess, fast forward a few years, there was 180 appointments made from exec to entry level. We really brought, in partnership with Adam Bank, the brand to life. And actually, they stayed so true to what those vision and values were going to be for the bank, and still do, actually. We've got some really great relationships still in Adam Bank 10 years later, at all levels, really. And I would say that was really successful in terms of sort of bringing that vision and values to life through their talent value proposition and the recruitment process and everything else. So that was, I guess, the sort of startup and unknown brand piece. We worked with Very Sure, who are based on the park with us. We worked with the sort of inward investment teams in terms of bringing Very Sure into the region first and foremost, and then worked them in terms of standing up the site effectively. So worked at all levels across customer service, team leaders, operational management, support staff. So again, that was really about landing a brand into a particular region where people didn't necessarily know them. I think most people probably know them through the great advert campaign that they have currently. But I think, at the time, they were probably less known. We're talking a couple of years ago now. So that was really successful. And we still work with Very Sure on sort of projects, some BAU recruitment, and have, again, some great relationships in that business as well. We've run national contracts for the likes of Santander, which was hugely effective in terms of providing 20% cost savings in terms of agency usage. And we worked with them for a huge amount of time. And I guess the interesting thing about that contract was that it started with us working with one site in Newcastle to start the site. Actually, it was when they first built the site up here, but that evolved into a full RPO where we operated across Glasgow, Milton Keynes, Bradford. I'm just thinking all of the miles I put in at the time, but it was a really great project, and I think it was about 7-8 years that we worked with them for. And until they sort of operated a huge direct model underpinned by a huge recruitment team. I think maybe one other, Ocado, again, we've still got some fantastic relationships with them. We worked with them during lockdown. I can tell you that brought its own challenges in terms of what we did with them. But it was really around, it was a candidate short market at the time. People were nervous about moving. We worked really consultatively with them about how we would really make that standout proposition for them. Not just their recruitment process and their attraction strategy, but also in terms of the value proposition through their shift patterns. We work consultatively with them around that as to how that could look better. And that really worked in terms of how that changed the dial of the number of candidates that were interested. So yeah, I mean, we still work across a broad range of sectors. Projects ranging from 5 people to 1,000 people over a 24-month period. It really doesn't matter. We work in financial services, utilities, business process outsourcers, but we continue, even I guess 30 years in, to be really successful in terms of the clients that we operate with, and so many different levels of relationships across the brands that we work with as well.
Great. Okay. So Dean, what advice would you give to companies considering an RPO solution for the first time?
They should call me in the first instance, and I'll happily talk them through it. I think if any companies is considering an RPO solution or just looking at the recruitment strategy in general and want to kind of view what's out there, then the advice is you've got nothing to lose by reaching out and having a conversation, exploring some options. I tend to look and do an initial service level and cost comparison. So there's some meaningful data there to say, look, this is what it is now, and this is what it could look like, and this is how it all works in between. I think that can provide some really, really valuable insights. And a lot of people are finding that an RPO isn't daunting or as big a commitment as they might think.
Yeah.
I think there's almost this expectation that it's a huge step or a big leap away from the norm, and actually it's really taking what you're doing now and what you've got now and augmenting that in so many ways that it's actually quite powerful. So I love telling people about that. So please do call me if anyone's seen this and they want to chat. I think recruitment doesn't need to be a gamble. Working with a bunch of arm's length providers and paying a premium when one of them gets it right, but not having any recourse when they don't get it right, that doesn't have to be the only way. And the market seems to be waking up to this and embracing it. Green Bean has been doing it for a long time, and we're continuing to work with a number of companies in that space. So partner with a smaller boutique business like us, like Green Bean, you can benefit from a really bespoke, flexible and scalable model that can help really get your business goals moving.
Well, that's been really insightful. If anyone wants to reach out, obviously Dean's put his hat in the ring there, or Leanne, we can find you on LinkedIn too, or there's the website. But just some closing comments from me. Thanks to Leanne and Dean. Remember, all partnerships have to start somewhere, I guess, and taking that first step to explore an RPO solution with us could be the key to elevating your brand, to making you an employer of choice in the market. So just these guys love, live and breathe RPOs. So just reach out to them for a conversation. We'll put the details in the comments below. So thank you again for your time. I hope everybody that's joined us today and watches it on replay has enjoyed it, and we'll look forward to hearing your questions, and we will see you all again next month for the next Talking Talent Live. So thanks very much everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.